everybody, this is Nash here, and it's time to be doing the Texas versus Wyoming preview. Now, most of the preview is going to be me going over the Steve Sarkisian press conference that recently happened, but the reason why I'm doing that is because a lot of what I have to say hinges on the press conference that Steve Sarkisian had and really what was said in there. So, we're going to be talking about that, but before I talk about that, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then comment down below your thoughts on what I'm about to say. I know a lot of people have already talked about this press conference and it's kind of been beaten to death, but if you heard what I said earlier in the OB Live at 6:30 in the morning, thank you for tuning in if you did that. You kind of know the general direction that I'm about to go in, but I'm going to dive in a little bit deeper to it. So, ultimately, Quinn Ewers, Steve Sarkisian talked about how Quinn Ewers had requested a player-led meeting, and it was granted. I think that there's nothing more than Quinn is saying, hey, we really need to focus up this week. We really need to, let's have the same approach that we did going into Alabama. Let's be a consistent team. Let's stop being the Texas team that plays down to the level of other opponents, and let's play to our level of football, the Texas Longhorn level of football, the brand that Steve Sarkisian is building. And really, I think that these two aspects of it are a little bit separate. There's a leadership aspect to it, and then there's also a ownership aspect to this. Quinn Ewers is owning this football team. He's taking ownership into this. This is his product that he's putting on the field. And when you do that, that you care more. You take pride in what you put out. And also, it goes with the caring more. You're going to fight for it. It matters to you. It's yours. It's not, you don't deflect it as somebody else's or another person's issues. Which is another thing that I loved about, they talk about how the team takes on the personality of their head coach. Our head coach has been doing this all the time. He not once ever has mentioned Tom Herman's name. Never blamed Tom Herman for leaving him with too little, too much, too whatever. Never. He's taken accountability, and he's taken ownership of his actions for all of his years at the 40 acres. And I think you see it play through to the quarterback. You see it with Quinn Ewers. It's a direct byproduct of the coach and the attitude that our coach has to not just football but life, because ultimately at the end of the day, that's all sports is. Sports is just a metaphor for life. But I think that I do think that there's a leadership aspect that you saw to it. Quinn was not the guy last year that was going to be speaking up. Jatavian Sanders was that guy. I don't think you were seeing. I personally wasn't expecting to see this development out of Quinn at all. I thought this was going to be something that you had to see when he became a professional quarterback. A big gripe with a lot of people has been that Quinn Ewers, he's not that guy. He's not going to be the dude that is going to go out there and yell at the offensive line because they missed an assignment or something like that. He's not going to go out there and lead his team. Well, I and everybody else that thought that was wrong, flat out wrong. Something that really stood out to me in the game before the press conference ever happened. You should have known this was coming. You should have known that the leadership aspect was there, because you heard Holly Rowe talk about Steve Sarkisian, or not Steve Sarkisian, but Quinn Ewers. He went up to his offensive line and he was yelling, "Let's go finish this. Let's go finish this." And they did. They went out there and they finished their opponent versus Alabama with that drive to score a touchdown. These are the things that you want to see from your quarterback. And ultimately, it's like that Des Bryant, my quarterback. He's my quarterback, right? We finally have a guy that we can say, he's my quarterback. He's my QB1, all right? Forget the debates. That's my QB1 right there. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the talk is cheap. It's time to go put in the work, and I think that's what you're seeing. I think that was the ultimate message that you saw from, not saw, but that the team heard from Quinn Ewers. A couple other things. I want to talk on the injuries. I probably should have opened up with this. I think that it sucks that Cedric Baxter's out. I know he's not officially out, but I'm predicting he's going to be out. I think that this is going to be a massive opportunity for Jonathan Brooks to go and try and take the lead role as a lead back. And I think that this is a game that he's going to show it. Steve Sarkisian talked about the offensive line, how he's basically challenged the offensive line. Hey, I want y'all to show the physicality that y'all showed in the last 7 minutes. Do a full game of that. Play a full game of that physicality. And this is where you hear Steve Sarkisian talk about the word championship. This will probably come to a surprise from all y'all, but I don't think Texas has a championship team yet. I know y'all are Nash, the guy that says 12-0, Nash, the guy that has us in the playoffs. Nash, the guy that said, I think even makes it to the championship game. We don't have a championship team yet. Well, we're going to get one. I believe in that. I still believe in my 12-0 prediction. I still believe we're going to make the playoffs. I still believe that we have a chance, a solid chance, to make it to the national championship game. We're not there yet. There's work to be done. There's missing pieces to the puzzle. But I think they figure them out. One of those is the run blocking, and one of those is the run game. Another one is consistency in scoring in the red zone. That has to get up. But I think that this is a team that can do it. You focus up, you focus in, and you lock in, and you get the job done. And I think that's the message that Quinn Ewers is trying to, hammer into his team, really. But Steve Sarkisian, he talked about how he keeps using the word championship. And it's just this manifestation to me. If you ever heard Aaron Rodgers talk, he loves talking about how manifestation, you speak things into existence. Steve Sarkisian, he doesn't hide from the. You had the Tom Herman. We're going to come and we deservedly hold a seat among the nation's elite. It was a wonderful thing. He never. Anytime you ever asked him, I remember Anwar was famously to me, for sitting there and trying to ask Steve Sarkisian, was this your success or a failure? And he kept deflecting, saying, I don't know how you could consider this. We won a ball game. How is this a failure? It's a failure because you said the bar at the beginning of the year was the Big 12 championship. You don't just start moving the field goal post. And that's not something you've heard Steve Sarkisian every single time. There's bar one, which is the Big 12 championship. Got to hit that. Bar two, national championship. He's talking about championship. Because that's what Texas fans, I don't want to say deserve, right? But honestly, that's what the previous teams that Texas has had deserve. The 60s teams, the 70s teams, the 2000s teams. They deserve for teams to play at that level. And to honor their names. And to honor the university that they played at. It's just, there's work to be done. But ultimately, I think that a guy like Quinn Ewers, when you see that he's going out there and you see him holding people accountable, you see him taking ownership of this team, I think that you're going to see this. So, moving on to the Wyoming preview part of this. It's not going to be too in-depth. And the reason why is because ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't think the statistics that are shown yet are whole. I think we got to go through one more game before we can actually start looking at statistics and it being meaningful. I mean, I feel like I would actually be lying to myself and to you if I start looking at statistics. And it's just a great example of this is right now there's a ton of teams with the turnover margin is high. Texas is one of those teams. We need to see the consistency of this stuff play out because you look at how it was last year. I mean, a lot of these teams start to fall off. So And that's just one small example, but really 2 games is not a sample size that you're going to be able to draw any meaningful conclusions from the statistics at. And especially in the case of Texas, you're not going to get that when you get one team is Rice and one team is Alabama. They're just too far apart. Now, you add in a Wyoming and you're going to start to be able to get a picture. You add in a Baylor, a Kansas. Things really start to actually become clear. And that's when the statistics that I use a lot and people know me for, that's when all that stuff is going to start actually becoming worthwhile and worthy of paying attention to. But to do a quick preview of this Wyoming team and the Wyoming game, if you want a really in-depth one, go tune into Texas Homer. He does great previews every single week that I don't think another Texas Longhorn account can match up to. He does amazing work. So go check him out and drop a like on his videos. But going to the preview, the Texas run offense, like I said, it needs to get better, and I think this is a week that we're going to show it needs to get better. Because this is a week that we have an opportunity to actually, I don't want to say go and get the work in, because that almost like disrespects the level that Wyoming has, but they have a good run defense. I don't want to say defense because I don't want to disrespect these guys. They got a good run defense. They got some good defensive backs. This is a defensive team. And I think it's going to be beneficial for Texas to have played them. This could be a game where it's like Rice, where a lot of Texas fans are overreacting right after there. And that's probably what it'll all be, is overreactions if that happens. But going into the player meetings, the Sark, I mean, it just, I would be more concerned if we did not see Texas go out there and dominate this game, because they're supposed to have been, like, if you were focused, if you told me you were focusing, then what were you doing? What happened? I mean, you got to go out there and you got to show it now. There's no, oh, well, the reason why we did well was because we focused and we never knew that. And then if they don't do well, we never hear about the player-led meeting, all that stuff. We don't, no. But if you're going to focus, I want to see you go out there, and I want to see this Texas team play to their level, like I said earlier. I don't want to see you play down to the Wyoming level. Maybe the second strings let up some points, and maybe they let up some yards. Who knows? But ultimately, I don't want to see that. Because we're going to need to rely upon these guys to win a championship. To win a Big 12 championship. To try and accomplish the goals that this Texas team wants to accomplish. So, I think that this offensive line, Steve Sarkisian, he challenged them. He said, hey, y'all had a great 7 minutes versus Alabama. Put a full game out there. I think you're going to see that. I mean, the last time that they got challenged, we saw what they did versus Alabama, and it was mainly in the pass blocking department, but at the end of the day, still counts, and it was extremely impressive. I mean, Jake Majors, the right guards, both of them, DJ Campbell and Cole Hudson, give them their flowers. Everybody knows the Christian Jones. Everybody knows the Kelvin Banks, the Hayden Connor. Give those 3 guys their flowers. Jake Majors, DJ Campbell, and Cole Hudson. They absolutely deserve them. So you want to see holes open up in the run game. You want to see a guy like Jonathan Brooks take advantage of this. I think a guy like Savion Red, you've seen him in the doghouse, but the scout team, you look at the thing that Steve Sarkisian said. He said Savion Red went out there and he played the Jalen Milroe for the Texas Longhorn football team in practice. He played as a scout team quarterback. I mean, doing the work that you need to do on the scout team, that's the type of stuff that gets you out of the doghouse and gives you opportunities. I think we're going to see a healthy amount of Jaden Blue. I like I said, it sucks for Cedric Baxter. It really does. But I think this is going to be a game that Jonathan Brooks is going to get the chance to show himself worthy. He showed it at the end of the game. He's earned the opportunity, and it's just this is one of those shitty things about sports, but not for Jonathan Brooks. Moving on, I think that the pass blocking, I want to see consistency from the pass blocking. I don't want to see a lot of pressures. This is a team that can get pressures. So this is like, I'm trying to avoid saying getting some work in, but this is a game that they need to show and get some work in. They need to show consistency. They need to, play, like I keep saying, play to Texas level of standards. Don't play down to Wyoming. You just went up against some guys that are way more physical. So unless there's a deeper issue that we have not seen at Alabama yet, or we don't know it's there yet, like it exists, but we just haven't seen it, we haven't recognized it. This should be a game that our offensive line handles a pass blocking well. Receivers, they got some good defensive backs. Wyoming does. They're just not going to be able to match up with our guys. I don't think that. A guy like Xavier Worthy, no. A guy like Adonai Mitchell, holy cow. Here's the deal. I knew we were going to be getting a guy, but not that. Okay? And I know a lot of y'all are like, see, Natch, I told you. No, look, Xavier's still going to be getting the lion's share targets. That's happening. That's going to happen. You can bitch about it all you want. But Adonai Mitchell, that dude is a legit threat. He's a red zone threat. The amount of red zone threats that we have on this team, it's a richness. It's a something of riches. I'm blanking on a wealth of riches or whatever. You get the point of what I'm trying to say. We got a lot of them. So offensively, I think ultimately offensively it's going to be a good day. I think what happens is Quinn Ewers has a great first half, efficient first half, because this is what we need to see. Goes out there, first drive, second half. Then Malik Murphy comes in, and then you see Arch Manning come in after that. That is my prediction for the offense. Defense, what we need to see is just, again, like I said, you've heard me talk about this Texas team is a championship defense waiting to be seen. And I think adding a guy like Mo Blackwell to this, we're going to see this defense maybe go up to another level. For those that don't know, I've been very high on Blackwell. He has the attitude that you want as a defender. And yeah, guys like Tavondre Sweat behind me. Jalen Ford, these defensive backs. It's going to be a tough day for Peasley. And then I also do think that there's a chance that Peasley, maybe they try and save Peasley from injury, because I think that there's a certain point that it can be to where Texas is winning this game, and hey, we're Wyoming. Let's go play for the conference. Let's save our quarter. Let's save our bullets, and let's try and win the conference. Let's not try and beat Texas. So I could see that happening. Ultimately, what I have happening is a 52-6. I've slightly modified my Orange Bloods prediction from 52-3 to 52-6. I just think that this has to be a great day from the Texas Longhorn team. And this is really a day that you're going to go out there and you're going to see the Texas Longhorns really try and show that they are a championship-worthy team. Now, it's not going to come out. Nothing's going to come out of this game to the media or to the public with a 52-6 thing and say, "Oh wow, this Texas team, that's a championship team." No, it's not going to happen. But it doesn't need to happen to them or to us. It needs to happen to them. And actually, time out. I still got my underdog predictions to do. So, going to be starting that and right there. I had a good week. I had a good week. I was so close. I was honestly, if Cedric Baxter doesn't get injured, I won $190 last week. So I'm not calling this financial advice, right? But your boy Nash, he was pretty close to being 100% right. Quinn Ewers, I had predicted higher than 242 passing yards. Easy. Jalen Mulrow, I said he was going to throw 1 or 2 interceptions. Did that. Jace McClellan said we're going to hold him to 45 rushing. I'm not going to lie. Early on the game, I was like, no, I don't. The slip is gone. McClellan had most of his rushing yards early on. Jordan Whittington. I thought he was going to have more than this, more usage than this, but he still went higher. And then Cedric Baxter got injured. What can you do about it? But we're going right into this week. So, and here's the deal. I haven't looked at these. So you're getting the live first time going through here. There's a whole bunch of other games. There's some specials. And I'm actually going to have to take a special from somewhere. I'm going to have to take something from someone else because at least 2 different teams. So, we're going to go right on through this stuff right here. And, I mean, let's just start off with the Quinn Ewers passing touchdowns. I told y'all I see a few touchdowns. A few is more than a couple. We're taking the higher on that one. I'm going to be taking the higher on Jonathan Brooks, the rushing yardage. Like I said, I do think this is a good run defense. But I think that Jonathan Brooks getting the majority of carries this game, that's going to bode well for him. I'm not going to lie, I don't like touching yardage on receivers normally. The reason why I like the Jordan Whittington one was, I mean, hey, 36.5, it's hard to say no to that. I'm not going to lie. I did say I was going to take it, I would have taken it around 69. That's because I thought Jordan was going to get more involved. And he also almost had that touchdown early on, but that would have never put him near 69. But, yeah, I will take this. This would be right here. Oh my god. Hey, now this is something that they didn't do. They didn't show you the touchdowns and all that stuff. Xavier Worthy, and I'm blanking. Hold on. This is something I should know this. I'm a Texas football YouTuber, and I don't know how many touchdowns Xavier Worthy has on the year. There's no way it's 0. No, wait, he just caught a touchdown. What am I talking about? So they have that wrong for Alabama. Yeah, okay. Wait, didn't they have that wrong for it? No. Okay, I was looking at the rushing. Whoops. I'm going to keep that in there because, you know what? A little bit of entertainment. So, and hey, like I was saying about the rushing, about the pass yards, I really just don't want to. You see the Washington numbers there. Yeah, that's I don't like touch. I typically do not like touching the yardage, but I think Xavier Worthy gonna get a touchdown. He should have had 2. Should have had 2 last week. I will take the higher on that because I think Texas is at least going to score 35 points worth of touchdowns. And I cannot see them putting a second kicker in there. We just need to leave Bird in there. And then I would take Jatavian Sanders higher. But like I said, I need to diversify my portfolio here. So we're going to be going into one of these other games, and give me 1 second. All right, so I went with Bo Nix just to go ahead and round it off. And I'm going to be going ahead and submitting this slip here. Going to drop in the little $10 buckaroos. Confirm. Wait, what? Okay, hold on. Passing touchdowns and same receiving touchdowns cannot be combined. Okay, so you know what? We'll see if this fixes it. We're rolling with the Jatavian Sanders touchdowns. Oh, I'm not going to be able to combine the receiving touchdown. Oh, no. Oh, no. you know what? We'll go higher on the passing yards. That's what we'll do. I'm not as confident in this pick, but it's a pick, and I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Quinn Ewers higher than 281 passing yards. I mean, I'm not in love with that. But that's all it is one more deep ball. But, all right, now that we've seen the underdog predictions, hope you all have a great day, and let's get this Texas win. Hook!